more real, I guess you could say. I mean, it's hard to really explain the transition that went from just an exploration now to a point where she can just sit here, close her eyes, and allow herself to go into this channel and tap into a higher source, if you will, and come out with information that, well, I guess nobody else would have. I mean, she doesn't speak in the terms that comes out. So can I prove it? Not really, but if you witnessed it, and she uses this in her daily practice. So, I'll refer certain patients that I see in my day-to-day practice that needs a little more than just medication for the underlying cause for their anxiety and depression or post-traumatic stress disorder, such as rape. And as soon as I tell them that she's gone through that, they're more open, and she really does help them heal. And with the work that we've done and with the exploration, not only can she channel, but she also has sight that she can actually see spirits, if you will, or the person who has passed on, to help these people be okay with their passing, their loved ones passing. And it's just a really powerful way to help the person in a deeper sense than just medicine, like as family medicine. I really think that the root of all physical ailments comes from an underlying spiritual issue. If you're not balanced, the body is kind of like a way of telling you that if you're not right in a certain area of the body, then you need to look more deeply in the spiritual sense.
Right, absolutely. Well, it's lovely to hear that there's a medical practitioner out there with that point of view. What, in terms of your own, most sort of investigation and then practice ends up to be started when a person themselves goes through certain things. And you've obviously had a life-death experience, but what sort of happened during the life-death experience, and did you yourself, because now I may be confused, but I think that you told me that you yourself are a channel. And I also want you to talk about that and how it is that you, like what it is you found out and what it is perhaps even Terry has told you about yourself or whatever. Can you go down that road?
Yeah. I don't really like to talk about it too much, but yeah, I mean, there's two different types of channel that I'm aware of, and I've only been doing this for a year and a half, so, I'm sure there's people out there that are listening that may have a conflicting view, but from what I understand, there are two types of channels. One's a deep channel, and that's Terry. She goes in and she brings out and taps into other energies or other beings, if you will, and they speak through her, and she's kind of like a conduit. Whereas I'm more of an open channel where I'm quite lucid and I tap in, and quite frankly, I don't know where the information comes from. Whenever somebody asks me a question, a lot of times it'll just come out, and I'll be like, wow, where'd that come from? So I'm not quite as skilled at this as Terry because she's been doing it for a long time. And like I said, I've only been doing it for a year and a half. But the key is to go within. And if you meditate, you can tap into some things that, mainstay medicine or, the general population just don't know about because it's not taught in schools. And, I don't, like I said, I mean, there's probably a lot of influences that keep people from knowing this certain thing, but some of which is the conflict with religion. Some may be the money that's involved with pharmaceuticals or other higher, venues. But what else did you have for me? Did you ask me, Carrie?
Well, I was curious, the life-death experience that you had that sort of sent you down this road.
Well,
you talk about how that changed your life or, beyond, because I understand that you went into a situation where you left this world, but how did that actually impact the rest of your life, in a similar way to the way Terry is talking about how her life changed?
Well, my near-death experience was the one that when you have a sudden impact and it jars the body, you don't really go down that narrow pathway and all that. You just are in a situation where everything kind of just slows to a halt and there's no time. And so basically I was coming around a sharp turn and I left the roadway and my truck went through a solid block wall. with my cousin and a good friend of mine, and we really should have been dead. I mean, we went through this block wall of a garage, and we pushed a car out the back end of the garage, and we ended up in the bed of this truck. And it's not funny, haha, but it's just funny what was going through my mind at the time. It was a Sunday morning, like I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I looked down and I saw that I smashed this guy's poor lawnmowers, and here I smashed both of his vehicles, and they're trapped in his garage, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's Sunday morning, this guy can't even go to church today. I don't know why that went through my mind, but so anyway, with my impact, apparently your DNA changes. So right off the bat, it wasn't like a sudden aha moment or anything. It took 10 years for me, but I've always had arguments with my family and friends of, spirituality and religions and the conflicts that, with the teachings. Like, for instance, if, one of my relatives had said to me, if Catholicism, that's the one true faith, it's the right one, and if you go down any other path, you're going to go to hell and all this other stuff. And I said to myself, so wait a minute. If somebody some unfortunate person is born on the other side of the planet and they're into a different religion, they go to hell just by virtue of living and being born into that? That doesn't make sense to me. So things like that would always made me question and want to look deeper to find a deeper meaning in life.
I understand. Okay, well, thank you. We are going to go to a break. I believe we have a break at the top and the bottom of the hour, and so there's I think it's 4 minutes.
Okay.
And so let me see if that's actually going to happen here. One moment here. This is not it's live radio. I mean, people are listening live, but it's not, and it's actually out of Holland. But it goes across the United States, and it can be streamed elsewhere, as well. So we don't necessarily have to take a break, unless they set that up.
Okay.
So I was just double checking. Okay. It looks like we are not going to break at the moment. Okay, yeah, it looks like we are going to break, and the music is Benno Stanek, Superhero, and we'll be back in about 4 minutes.
Dit is ArgusoogRadio.
About that live, but we should wait. Hi, this is Carrie Cassidy from ProjectCamelot, Whistleblower Radio, and we've got some very interesting guests with us. Terry Ippolito.
Ippoliti.
Ippoliti.
That's hard.
Okay, and Joseph Mara. And Joseph is a doctor, and I don't know if you really classify yourself as a doctor. You're a hypnotherapist, but not officially a doctor. Isn't that right, Terry?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm just a hypnotherapist. I call myself a holistic practitioner because I take everything and put it together.
Okay.
It's somewhat, some people would call me like a life coach or something.
Yeah.
Because I take the mind, body, and spirit approach, and then I work with the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual aspect, and put everything together to help somebody see themselves more clearly.
Okay, so now we're gonna at some point try to take questions, and the way this radio station works is that there is a chat room in which people post their questions, and also the person, Hans, who's the technician, is going to send me questions from people, and then I also offer people to either Skype me or go onto my email and send me an email question. So there are different avenues in which people can actually ask you guys questions. One thing I do want to say here, though, is that I have information, and there is information out there, that channeling itself, in the way you do it, can be detrimental. And I'd like you to address that, both of you, from your different points of view. And